Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Innovations Podcast series brought to you by Sanford Health. I'm your host, Sean Niestead with Sanford Health News. Our conversation today is with Captain Paul Weckman, Head of Military and Veteran Affairs. Captain Weckman, welcome. Thank you for being with us here today.
Well, Sean, thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. It's a great day today. The sun's out, and looking forward to sharing and talking with you about veteran and military programs.
And when we call you Captain Weckman, that's just not a cute name we've come up with around the office for you. You've earned that name. Let's talk about your background before you come here to Sanford Health.
Sure. I served honorably for 26 years on active duty in the Navy, and so the ranks in the Navy are a little different than they are in the Army, Marines, and Air Force. So a captain in the Navy is equivalent to a full colonel in the other services.
Well, thank you for your service.
No problem.
That had to be a big transition, coming out of that and into what we would call civilian life, but you're in kind of a familiar area here at Sanford.
Yes, transition is one of the probably most difficult things for a lot of military folks, and that was one of the things that this job was not only challenging but very career not only enhancing, but my calling too, because a lot of veterans do struggle in trying to get back and transition into not only the civilian world, but into the workforce, because completely different cultures, different mindset, and that was one of the things, challenges, but again, to me, it's almost self-healing, and sometimes too, is to have that ability to kind of speak bilingual as well, and to be able to translate for those veterans transitioning, and because I've been there and done it.
And that's one of the areas that your department works in right now, is becoming an employer of choice, as we call it around here. Kind of tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, well, when I first took this position, we created it. That was one of the things as military people always ask us, okay, what's your desired end state, or what do you want me to accomplish here? So they gave me, basically, we agreed upon 3 buckets that I have to fill. And the first one would be being an employer of choice. And with that is how we have veterans, military, Guard, Reserve members, if they have a choice to work in the civilian workforce, a choice in that, why not make the choice coming to Sanford Health be very, I want to call it palatable or in a way attractive, and at the same time they feel that they're either appreciated or recognized for their service and their skill sets, because a lot of the skill sets they acquire in the military are not even close to being the same in the civilian workforce. A tank driver, infantryman, you just don't have those. I was a ship driver, and I'm not driving any ships at Sanford right now. So, but we have other acquired skill sets that we do want to recognize, more leadership skills or other team, and an ability to be able to do multiple tasking, and then just a lot of those different attributes and skill sets that hopefully we can understand, recognize, and utilize those working here at Sanford Health.
And there are benefits for those who are veterans or still active with their military careers, should they choose to work at Sanford Health or the Good Samaritan Society.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest ones, I'm so proud of our leadership, is they agreed and understand how important it is, especially for Guard and Reserve members that are, citizen soldiers, as they say. They work here full time and then part time, either 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year, or when they're mobilized, they're gone. And so how do we ensure that they have that same type of a lifestyle? Because unfortunately, they may be deployed and then their pay is lowered on active duty. So what we have is what they call differential pay. We make up the difference, and I'm proud to say that we are one of the best or the best throughout the entire United States for having such an aggressive, great differential pay program that basically covers up to a whole entire year. And there's not many organizations that do that, and I think that's one of the reasons too that we were recognized recently with the Department of Defense Freedom Award, and that's one of the things that they weigh heavily on, is how well we take care of Guard and Reserve members.
So speaking of employer of choice, let's say a veteran is listening out there right now. How should they go about applying for a job here at Sanford Health or at the Good Samaritan Society?
Great question. One of the things that we have created just recently is it's a career site. So it's sanfordcareers.com is where they would go. Once they get to that landing zone, there will be a drop-down menu where it's the About tab, and in there we'll have veterans. And you click on that tab, veterans, and they'll immediately take you to a site where it's totally designed for veterans. They understand it. For example, if we call it a MOS, which is like a military occupational standards code, they can type in that 3 or 4 digit code, and it will, within a nanosecond, transmit it, interpret it into a civilian skill set that Sanford Health has or probably has, or similar family. If you were a truck driver in the Army, you probably will find a job opening to drive trucks or vehicles for one of our programs if you're interested in doing that. If you're a medic and you type that in, you're going to be either a certified registered nurse or a certified nurse assistant or a BSN nurse. It does it like just instantly. And it shows when you can say, well, what locations do you want? And it can be either here, it could be one of the other 24, 25 states, within Good Samaritan as well.
You also often talk about some educational opportunities. I know you and I have talked in the past about scholarships, and also we recognize veterans across Sanford Health, even some awards as well internally here. Tell us about those.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, this last week, that's where I was on the road giving out $5,000 scholarships to the individuals that are veterans all over our footprint. I've been in South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota this last week. And to see the smiles on these veterans, and I always do it in front of their peers in the classroom. And at first they don't know what's going on because you got, some camera crews from the local news coming in, and they don't know. No one really knows what's going on. And then when you call them up in front of their fellow students and recognize them, these individuals went through a selection process. They just don't automatically get this, and so they're very competitive. They not only have served, but they have great community service, volunteerisms. They really maybe have some demonstrated leadership skills, but they're just an all-around great veteran and also student. Academically, they've been doing real well. And so this last week, that was one of the best parts of my job, is to be able to surprise them and award them with a $5,000 scholarship. So that's one of the programs that we do, and it's just a great program that we have. Another one is for those employees at Sanford Health, we do have what they call a Veteran of the Year award, and we also have a Veteran Advocate of the Year award. So for those that are even a veteran, it's what they do to help support veterans can get recognized as well.
And those are some of the big things, but there's also little things I notice in the hallways at Sanford Health. And that is, if you just pass somebody in a hallway and you look at their badge and they're a veteran, it says so, should they choose to disclose that, correct?
Correct. And that's one of the cool things that a lot of people don't understand, the importance of being recognized as a veteran, not only as an employee, but my second bucket is we want to be a provider choice for veterans. So we have found out, and when a veteran comes in to seek medical care, and then the first person they say is that nurse that is there screening, or that first person, and there's a veteran across that ID badge, right away that will instantly lower their anxiety level. They can just instantly start relating that, okay, here's a fellow veteran, here's a fellow brother or sister that I've worked with, served in arms, and then just they relax, they open up, and they feel more comfortable of being there as a patient. And that's probably one of the coolest things that I see in comments I hear about how we're not only veteran friendly as an employer, but then also as a provider.
And as a provider, there's also the Veteran Ambassador Program, which is kind of similar to what you're talking about there. Veterans reaching out to veterans.
Correct. And again, we are always looking for volunteers that are veterans. What we do is in the morning when they come in, they can pull the list of veterans, because we do track the veterans. We ask them if they are a veteran patient, and we have it in our electronic medical record, and we call it EPIC. And there we can track, and we know who our veterans are if they self-identify. And so we go visit them in the hospital. A lot of these maybe not have a loved one that can come visit them if they're there for a period of, say, maybe 5 days. Maybe they had a hip replacement or heart surgery or whatever the case may be. And then we come in and we visit with them. Along with that, we recognize their services. We provide them a little small token, and it's a veteran pin. The stories we hear, the one this last week that I got, again, it's so touching to see. Unfortunately, a Vietnam veteran commented when we provided him this pin and pinned him with it. He says, "This is the most recognition I've ever had." since my Vietnam days. And again, that generation had a pretty tough reception coming back home. And to see that is showing that we really are making a difference and recognize these veterans across the board.
Moments like that, how important are those to you?
Well, it can be pretty emotional. Tears sometimes do come. The Veterans Program, like I said, we did a great Sanford Health News story on it. You can always go online and screen for it and look at it, but it's called the Ambassador Program. But you will see in every one of those veterans' eyes the emotions, the appreciation for just being recognized, and just someone even stopping by even for a few minutes. And then the other part of it is our volunteers, when they get done at the end of the day, they are so self-gratified and humbled to be in this program, and really, to them, it's a healing process maybe for them as well. Definitely a gratifying process where they really feel good about themselves that they helped a fellow veteran in time of need.
And Sanford Health has a veteran information hotline, kind of a one-stop shop for veterans out there, kind of their single point of contact if they have questions. I've got the number in front of me. It's 800-949-1848. Again, that's 800-949-1848 for any veterans out there who may have questions. They can just call in right there. And again, they're going to be talking to someone who's going to speak their language.
Correct. And it's one of those things now that we've had this up and running for a few years that it's great that they can talk to someone, and then they will say if it's an employee question, they will go right to that department, or if it's a billing issue, it'll go to it would go to that department. So it's pretty seamless operation, and as far as the number of calls, it's great now that there is one source for that program.
And veterans clubs across some of the major medical centers at Sanford Health. Kind of tell us about those as well.
Yeah, we decided on this a few years ago. There's nowhere in the nation that has this, but in the military, we call them USO clubs. And it's just a way to get away from everything. And some people say maybe to chill out or just to relax and just do nothing, but it's exactly what I just said. And so the concept, we figured, well, why can't we do this in the hospital? Veterans are there, and sometimes could be there all day if they're doing lab work or they're waiting for results or waiting for their next appointment. And we live in a rural area, and so in North and South Dakota are both designated rural area states. People could be driving for hours, and to get here, why not find a place for them just to hang out? And in addition to not only the veteran, we could also have it for their family members or their healthcare basically anybody that might be a provider or help them get around. And it's really cool. Even our veteran service county officers that may be shuttling in there as a caretaker, they too can stop and use the same facility. So we're seeing that there is great use out of it. And then what's kind of really cool is when they're in there and then two families are in there. And us military families, all of a sudden, the next thing they're sitting next to each other, maybe sharing names, and they always know someone else or this or that, and then their help. And again, we see the anxiety levels come way down because they're visiting with each other, and we always are there to kind of have each other's back, always be there to take care of them. And we're always great in resources and try to help them. Hey, did you hear about this or that or that? And so that's what we're seeing. If you were to go into the Veterans Club, and I challenge the people, if you are a veteran and you go into the club, just read the comments that are in the guest book. That's the part I can go in there any day. If I just want to get cheered up, I just read the comments because they are so gratifying to see and appreciative of how they have a place. If they just want to hang out, we have computers in there. If they want to get on the internet, if they want to play board games, we have board games. If they want to watch TV, they have TVs. Or if they just want to relax, shut their eyes and relax in one of the lazy boy chairs there, that's great there. And we always have coffee that's always on. And if they want to have a cup of coffee, sometimes we might even have a pastry or something there. But it's just a great place to go and just forget about most things and just relax.
That's perfect. Yeah. One thing I want to talk about before we talk about community outreach as well, and this kind of gets into that, is the Sanford Chip for veterans that was unveiled here a couple of years ago. Kind of update us on that program, where it is, and what that means.
Sure. So nationally, we do have a mutual agreement with the VA administration out of Washington, D.C. when we announced this back a few years ago in 2019. with generous gifts of Denny Sanford and Sanford, the foundation, all came together and collaboratively came up with a $50 million type of a contribution. What the return on it's called the phaser program is what the VA has identified is there's approximately 170 or so veteran hospitals out there. So across the United States, if a VA would get enrolled in this program at no cost to the veteran, they would be able to get a simple blood test. And then that blood test, on the pharmacological side of it speaking, is a physician now can prescribe them medication that, genetically speaking, would metabolize in their body and be effective, vice in the past maybe a physician or someone that was administering medications would just trial by error. Here, give this a try. If it works, fine. If not, come back and maybe we'll up the dosage or maybe get you on something else. Well, this kind of eliminates the dosage and eliminates the trial by error and guessing game. It's precision, I call it medicine, that's designed for your body, not mine, when it comes to what your body's metabolizing better. And we're finding out that it's saving lives. I mean, you think about from blood thinning after to prevent blood clotting after a major heart surgery, we're finding out that some were not prescribed. They were prescribed maybe a blood thinner, but not the right blood thinner. And so we're seeing that from the results in the last couple of years of that. We're also seeing, for example, someone that might be on an antidepressant, someone might be have post-traumatic stress. Why not get them on the right one the first time? It could save lives. The suicide rate in veterans is way higher than it should be, and it's way above the I would call it the civilian side of things. And so that's one way that we can help reduce that as well, is by getting them on the right dosage and the right meds the first time. Sanford Health has the same opportunity, no cost for a veteran. So if you were a Sanford patient, you could go in as a veteran and request it, and it would still be no cost, and you could get those results within a few weeks, and that would go through your primary care. So we're kind of running two programs, the same thing in parallel, but for those that are not visiting or have in Sanford Health as their primary care, they're just going to have to be a little bit more patient, wait for the VA to get us up and running, and like I said, I anticipate it within the next month or so, we should be both programs up and running.
Pretty amazing time in history that a little blood test can tell you exactly what you need to take and when and how much. It is incredible how far that line of medicine is coming. And I want to also talk to you, Captain Weckman, today about some of the community support that is offered from Sanford Health out there for veterans and active military.
Correct. And that would be my third and last bucket, would be that community outreach and us being a partner of choice. So we got to take a look at it is what do we have and locally within our footprint as well. We got a pretty large footprint, with Sanford with the 3 states, but now when we have Good Samaritan with us, now you expand to almost 24, 25, 26 states. So that, again, is one of those opportunities for us to continue to do that, and we are doing that. Some of the things here locally within the Sioux Falls area, I'll start out with the Sioux Falls region, is we have now what they call the South Dakota Military Heritage Alliance, and it's the first in the nation, again, that I'm aware of, where you have a collaboration of like the VFW, the American Legion, all these other organizations under one roof. And that is one of the things that I was just down there just a few minutes before here, and to give tours to some people that just first word out of their mouth is wow. Because where else can you go to not only sit there today, and we had a great lunch, right next door within the building is a shooting range, which veterans love, something with shooting range. Then you have the availability. We have concerts out there. You can rent it out if you want to have a wedding out there. It seats over 1,000 people out there. We have meeting rooms out there, so we have meetings going on all the time with these veteran organizations that can come out there and gather in place. So it's kind of like one-stop shopping. Everybody can come there. We have a lot of veteran-owned businesses that rent out lease spaces there. I gave a tour today. I showed the one Marine. He's got his mortgage company there. An Army realtor, she has her business there. So those are some of the different things with that. When a veteran can come there, they really can almost have every resource there. We even have a veteran service officer that can actually do claims for you if you're looking for disability claims to be done, and all that's free of charge. And the great thing about that is it's open to the public too. So we encourage the public to come out there as well if they want to utilize it. But that, again, is the first in the nation that I'm aware of, and it's going real well.
That's great to hear. And it's not just you tooting your horn and talking about all the great things going on here at Sanford Health and the Good Samaritan Society. There's been quite a bit of recognition for the work in that space as well.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look not only at the Alliance, but we have now the first in the nation I'm aware of, just south of Sioux Falls and Parker, South Dakota. It's called Wings of Valor Lodge. And again, I'm very proud to be an employee of Sanford because they came to us first, because the community gets it. They understand how we feel about taking care of veterans because it's just the right thing to do. And they approached us, and they had a concept, an idea about having the first ever in the nation again, an idea of having a hunting lodge just for veterans. And not only is there hunting, but there's a lot of other things that are going on out there. And it's usually a 3 or 4 day event out there. And I'm happy to say that they're going to celebrate their 1-year anniversary here coming up next week. But the outreach, we're having people coming from all over the United States flying in. And about every 2 weeks, there's another group. And to see from Korean War, Vietnam veterans, now a lot of Afghanistan veterans, being that it's fully ADA compliant and also wheelchair accessible, it's, like I said, the first in the nation that I've seen where they feel so comfortable being out there because we can accommodate all those. We have wheelchairs with tracks on it. All the rooms have been designed by a 27-year-old Marine that has no legs that he, stepped on IED in Afghanistan. He designed these rooms while he was in his wheelchair and stuff. So he gets it, and he designed it that way, and that's how we built it. And so they're comfortable. They're independent out there. They don't need help, and that's what they enjoy being out there. And so not only for the physical, but we also have those hidden type of injuries, and we have a lot of support groups, and they just the camaraderie when they get out there. It's just a great experience to witness. And again, that's the community outreach program that we enjoy doing and getting out there. And so that's the other thing is there's so many different other community events that are associated with veterans, and they always gravitate back to us. And that's the things that I enjoy about this job as well is the community understands we're here to support the veterans, and the veterans themselves understand how we support them.
That's perfect. Captain Weckman, I want to thank you for your time today, and also more importantly, thank you for your service.
Well, you're welcome, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Sean.
Well, to learn more about how Sanford Health supports veterans, visit sanfordhealth.org and search veterans. This was another episode of the Innovations Podcast series by Sanford Health. For Sanford Health News, I'm Sean Niestad. Thanks for listening.